Hi everyone, and welcome to In the Know. Diets, allergies, the flu, what to eat, what not to eat. There's so much to learn, and here to make our lives just a little bit easier is local holistic nutritionist Shannon Kadlovski. We're talking about kitchen must-haves, healthy alternatives, and immunity boosters. Welcome back, Shannon.
Thanks, Julia.
Great to have you back.
Thanks for having me
You've
back.
brought a huge spread. This is just, we're just scratching the surface here because there's so much more in the wings.
Exactly,
I can see it all.
yeah.
So we're starting today's show off with kitchen must-haves.
Yes. So every kitchen, I mean, these are just a few items that every kitchen should have, but if I was to give a suggestion, my suggestion would be to have healthy, wholesome, natural foods as much as possible in your kitchen and try to stay away from processed, packaged, refined foods as much as possible. So I've sort of come up with my top 10 list or top 10 kitchen must-haves that every kitchen should have.
And so when you say kitchen must-haves, kitchen must-haves for a healthy life, for balance, for...
Yeah, so that's the whole thing. So it's about having sort of balance in your life, still having delicious foods in your kitchen, but having foods that are wholesome and that are going to be beneficial to a healthy lifestyle.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Should we start on that end?
Sure.
Okay.
So the first thing that every kitchen should have are green veggies. Green veggies are like super loaded with antioxidants, fiber, vitamins, and minerals that we need, and they're really, really just amazing for us. Having, a side of green veggies with your lunch or with your dinner or both is really beneficial for us. And they just really give us all the nutrients and vitamins and minerals that we need. Another great way actually to incorporate greens into your day is to have a green drink.
Okay.
So if you have a juicer at home, you can just throw these items into a juicer and what that sort of does for your body is it helps to sort of detoxify your system. It helps to detoxify your liver, and it really helps to sort of clean out your system, and it gives you a really good boost. So sometimes I'll throw, if I'm feeling like it that day, I'll throw a bit of fruit in there as well, or beets to give it a nice vibrant color, a sweet taste, and it's just a perfect sort of detoxifying, high antioxidant thing for you to have.
So last time you were here, you said that the green vegetables add alkaline to your body.
Yep.
You want to make your body more alkaline, less acidic.
Exactly.
So a handful of spinach in your smoothie could do that?
Exactly. Yeah, just even throwing a handful in your smoothie, or steaming them lightly, and having them with your chicken or your fish or whatever it is that you're having for dinner is really going to help to exactly alkalinize the body. And
okay, you said steam.
Okay.
So I have this discussion with people all the time. The difference between steaming and boiling.
Steaming really helps to keep the nutrients sort of intact. So the more that we cook our vegetables, the more lifeless they become, right? So we want living food. The more raw vegetables you can eat, the better. But if you're gonna have, let's say, some steamed kale or some steamed spinach or even steamed broccoli with your dinner, you wanna steam it so that it's still bright in color and a little bit crunchy and not lifeless, essentially.
Let's move on.
Okay.
Another one of my favorites.
Yes, so it's quinoa. And if you haven't heard of quinoa before, it's kind of a funny sounding name, but it shouldn't scare you away from trying it. It's actually an amazingly nutritious food for us to have. It's actually a seed, and it's related to the spinach family, but it's most often consumed as a grain. So where you would have, let's say, rice or pasta or something like that, you could replace that with quinoa.
Right.
And quinoa is a whole grain, which means that it hasn't been processed, there's no refining. You really get the benefits of that whole grain. And it's also a really good source of protein for us. So it's a non-animal source of protein for us. Again, super high in fiber, helps to regulate our digestive system, helps to keep things going. And it's really just amazing for us. And another great thing about quinoa as compared to something like a white rice or something else, it really helps to stabilize our blood sugar levels. So when we're consuming it with other foods, it really helps to slow down the absorption of the sugars into our system. And it also helps to keep us fuller for longer.
Okay, very quickly, we have about a minute left.
Okay.
Sunflower seed butter.
Yeah, so sunflower seed butter is my go-to. I mentioned the last time we met that I have nut allergies, and a lot of people today have nut allergies, and you can't bring peanut or almond butter to school. So it's an amazing alternative for people who like the flavor of peanut butter but can't have the peanut butter. It's an amazing alternative. Sunflower seeds actually are super high in magnesium, so they help to calm our nervous system, super high in vitamin B5, so they're good for our stress levels, and it tastes amazing too. So put it in your smoothie, put it on top of some toast, have some crackers with it, whatever, have it right off the spoon,
right,
and it's a delicious snack.
All right, I'm gonna try the sunflower seed butter when we come back. Don't go anywhere, more In the Know right after this.
So the next item on my must-have list is chickpeas. Chickpeas are an amazing source of fiber for us, so they really help to lower cholesterol levels. They really help to, again, regulate our digestive system, keep things going. They're also a really slow-burning source of energy, so they give us energy that we need to get through the day, but they break down slowly in our system, which means that they provide us with sort of a steady amount of energy throughout the day. So we don't end up with energy crashes. They sort of help to keep our blood sugar again stabilized and give us that slow burning energy. They're also a really good source of protein for us, another non-animal source of protein. And they're actually very versatile. So you can use them in a bunch of different recipes. You can put them on top of your salad, put them into a soup. I love hummus. So I make my own homemade hummus. It's so simple and easy to make. There's actually a recipe on my website, but you can use chickpeas, some tahini, some lemon juice, fresh lemon juice, of course, and some olive oil and some sea salt, and you have
garlic.
a fresh, obviously, and some garlic. How could I forget the garlic? And you just throw it into a blender, and you have a quick and easy homemade hummus. So it's really great. I want to mention, so there's a few different ways that you can buy and use chickpeas.
Right.
One of them would be to buy them raw and cook them yourself. And what you would want to do, sometimes people find that chickpeas are a little bit gassy. So what you would want to do is you would want to soak the raw chickpeas in water overnight, 8 to 12 hours or so, and that helps to sort of break down the gases in the chickpeas, making them easier for our bodies to digest. So once you've soaked them, you can then boil them. So for every, let's say, cup of dried chickpeas, you would use about 4 cups of water, and you would boil them up. It takes anywhere between 2 to 3 hours to get the chickpeas fully cooked, but it's a healthier option because you don't get, the negative sort of things that you would find in canned chickpeas. You don't get that when you cook them yourself.
And so last time you were here, you mentioned that the canned chickpeas, be careful because there could be some sodium in the can.
Exactly. So when you're buying we talked about the generic brands, I won't mention any names, but when you're buying a generic brand of chickpeas, oftentimes there's added sodium and added things to keep it, preserved and keep it, safe for us to eat. There is one brand that I actually would recommend, and that's Eden Organic, Eden Foods. And the way that they sort of get that sodium content into their chickpeas is by adding kombu. And we talked last time, kombu is a seaweed, so it's naturally sodium based, and it's a healthier alternative if you are going to buy a canned chickpea. Their cans are also BPA free, so there's no
leaching
or anything like that from the cans into the chickpea. So if you don't have time to soak your own, and it's sort of a quick, last minute decision that you want to have them, it would be a great option for someone to have these on hand at home.
Okay, one of my favorite things, garlic.
I put garlic in everything. I absolutely love garlic. It's probably my favorite spice. And the reason for that, A, it tastes delicious, and B, it's actually amazing for us as well. So it has great anti-inflammatory properties for us. So it helps to keep down inflammation. It helps to promote healing. And it also is great for our immune systems as well. We're going to talk a little bit later about immune boosters. But garlic is a great immune booster for us. And it also is great for protecting our hearts and preventing heart disease. So it actually helps to reduce the amount of total cholesterol in our systems, and it helps to increase our levels of good cholesterol and decrease our levels of bad cholesterol. The enzyme that's found in garlic is called allicin, and that's what gives it that potent antioxidant, cancer-fighting, heart disease-preventing benefit. It's the allicin that's found in there, and so if you'll notice, we can't smell the garlic now, but the minute that you open up and you start chopping or cutting the garlic, that's when the smell starts to come out, and that smell is produced by the allicin that's formed. So eating raw garlic has the highest potency of allicin in it. When you start to cook the garlic, it loses a little bit of its potency because that allicin, or some of it at least, is killed off. So eating raw garlic is number one, and if you are going to use it in your cooking, I would say throw it in sort of near the end.
Don't cook away all the properties.
Yeah, don't cook away all the beneficial properties of it. Throw it in at the end, so at least you're getting some, it doesn't lose all of its properties, but you're still getting most of the allicin intact there,
Okay, excellent. We're going to continue on our top 10 list when we come back. Don't go anywhere. More In the Know right after the break. Okay, moving right right along. Cut oats.
Steel cut oats. Yeah. So
Steel cut oats.
yeah, steel cut oats are a great source of fiber for us. They're a great source of protein for us as well, and they're also a great source of B vitamins for us. So they help to reduce our stress levels, promote better sleep, and they're a really good source of also calcium and magnesium for us. So again, help to relax our nervous system and promote promote good health. They again help to regulate our blood sugar levels, prevent those spikes in insulin from occurring, and help to keep our blood sugar levels stable during the day, and help to reduce sugar cravings as well because our blood sugar is balanced.
How do you eat that? Like as oatmeal?
Okay, so yeah, so steel cut oats are whole uncut oats, different than a rolled oat, let's say. So yeah, you would boil that in a pot of water the same way you would rolled oats, let's say. They take a little bit longer to cook, and they're a little bit crunchier in texture than a rolled oat, but they're just as delicious. You top them the same way that you would oatmeal. You know, put some fruit on top, put some honey or maple syrup or whatever it is that you like on top of your oatmeal, and eat it that way.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. Cacao.
So cacao is raw chocolate, and
No kitchen is complete without chocolate.
exactly. I love chocolate. I think most people like chocolate. And it's one of those things that is actually really good for us as well, surprisingly. And it's different. I want to make it very clear because it's different than having, let's say, a chocolate bar or
Yes.
something else, right? A lot of the time people have problems with chocolate or sensitivities to chocolate because of the fillers that are added, the sugars that are added, and the dairy that's added. So this is pure raw chocolate. It comes right from the cacao pod.
And it smells, it's really strong. It's got a bitter.
It has a little bit of a bitter taste. There's
Okay.
no sweeteners in it. There's nothing like that. I like to put some in my smoothies so you get the potency of the cacao. It's super high in antioxidants, and it's also really high, not high in, it helps to boost our serotonin levels,
Right.
which is our feel-good chemical, which makes us feel happy. And it's also really high in magnesium, and a lot of the time at women's time of the month, we crave chocolate. And the reason for this is because of the magnesium levels in the chocolate. At that time of the month, we tend to be deficient in magnesium. And actually, a lot of the population now is deficient in magnesium. And that's sort of the reason that we crave that chocolate around that time. Another thing I wanted to mention about cacao actually is that cacao and love, or chocolate and love, are very closely related. And there's actually a chemical reason for this. There's a chemical called phenylethylamine that's found in chocolate, and it's also a adrenal chemical found or naturally produced in our bodies when we're in love. So when we're in love, our bodies produce that chemical. When we eat chocolate, our bodies produce that same chemical. And this is why chocolate and love are so closely related. That's why we have this love affair with chocolate, because it makes us feel so good.
Okay, sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing,
Yeah.
the difference between cacao and cocoa.
Okay, so cacao is comes from like right off the plant, from the pods and the seeds inside. Cocoa is actually a byproduct of cacao. So when cacao is broken down, it's broken down into cocoa butter and cocoa powder.
Okay.
And cocoa is what's produced after it's been refined and broken down.
Okay.
So the cacao nibs or the cacao beans are crushed down, the fat is extracted, and then the remaining parts are ground down into the cocoa powder. So
Okay.
if you're gonna buy, you always wanna make sure that it's raw. So if you're gonna buy raw cocoa powder, that would be a better option than buying a sweetened cocoa powder if you're going to use that in your baking or your cooking or whatever.
Don't go anywhere. Healthy alternatives here on In the Know with Shannon Kadlovski when we come back after the break.